What's up, everybody? It's that time of the day, that time of the week, that time of the month.
It sure is.
You're listening to The Good,
The Band,
The Ugly. I'm Big Papa.
And I'm Jeff.
And have we got a show for you?
Yes, we do.
I'm going to have to come up with something different because I say that every fucking week.
Yeah, well.
And I had to make sure within right. 7 seconds the F-bomb got dropped so we can click the explicit button.
Yep.
How you doing, brother?
Good, man. You?
Oh, dude, great weekend.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You went out and saw Alumni, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, who'd you go see?
Assemble.
How was that?
Different.
I went and saw the Booty Foundation doing their big disco Halloween party. Jeff Totora flew in from Vegas.
You get a chance to talk to him?
I did.
Good.
Yeah, but he's still,
I know.
rock star. Everybody's
I can't talk to you.
I go, dude, we talk more on FaceTime than we do when you're in town. He's
no
like,
shit.
I can't get a word in. It's all right.
Yeah.
And then I did my Totora
costume.
Yeah. I will put that on the screen because he's like, that's
people need to see it.
He says that was creepy.
Yeah.
Johnny Peluso said
it was very creepy when you
Johnny says
shit.
That's disturbingly accurate.
It is.
You must wear that.
I'm like, is Totora there?
Yeah. I just didn't have that goofy sparkly shirt on in the end.
Yeah.
So anyways, great show.
Yeah.
About 800 people.
Nice.
And did a great job there. So
excellent.
Shout out to the alumni from Assemble.
Yes.
And shout out to both Johnny Peluso and Jeff Totora.
Yep.
And then he flew in. He flew in. Hey now. A guy from Boston as well that plays with the Blue Man Group out in Boston to sit in when Jeff did his whole.
Oh, with his little I saw that.
Yeah, little montage of
yep.
some typo negative and shit. So
yeah,
good show.
Cool.
But yeah, other than that, it's been a great show. But today we are honored to have twice nominated, Grammy nominated drummer.
Yep.
And all-around cool dude, Mr. Jason Bittner. So, Jason, if you could turn your camera on.
We'll do it.
And there you go. Boom.
There it is.
There he is.
So tempted to go, what?
What? This fucking thing's not working.
Son of a...
It's not working.
Hang on. Let me...
I told you it wasn't going to work.
So, Jason, welcome to the show, man.
Hi, happy to be here.
So,
thank you for having me.
Ding. So, for those of you who don't know, Jason, he's known for the bands
Drumming with
like,
Shadows Fall.
Yeah.
Overkill.
Go ahead. You
filling in for Charlie Benante from Anthrax. I also know he actually played a little bit with George Lynch as well.
Okay.
Let's not put that one on the resume.
All right.
Okay.
No problem.
I was in Flotsam and Jetsam, Burning Humans, Stigmata, Toxik.
Wait a minute.
Yes, I played a NAMM part. Yes, Syracuse. Exactly.
Okay.
I knew that would stop you right there. Yes, I played a NAMM party with George Lynch. I'm wondering how this... It's funny. This thing happened like 10 years ago, and this has been like surfacing like lately, like...
Really?
Like in the last couple years or so, like in interviews, this has been surfacing, and I'm like, wow, this thing was like, no one even cared about this when this happened like 10 years ago, and I was like, yeah, I did, and it was kind of a nightmare. So
more people are talking about it than showed up.
Yeah, that's why
100,000 people talk about it. 28 people showed up. Yeah, sounds like one of our shows.
It's on YouTube. It was a NAMM party that Stu Ham asked me to do, and Stu and I had just finished up doing a bunch of a couple clinic tours together that year. Well, I want to say it was like 2008, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Stu called me up before NAMM, and he's like, "Hey, you want to do this acoustic thing? Like Washburn is relaunching all these guitar lines." And they're relaunching the acoustics. I'm missing my words right now because I'm already seeing the Blabbermouth headline that, Jason Bittner doesn't want to play with George Lynch or something. Crap that, this stuff always turns into, and this isn't it. But
very familiar with Blabbermouth.
I'm gonna make a very long story short. one of the greatest bass players I've ever played with called me up and asked me if I wanted to play a NAMM party with one of the greatest guitar players that I ever thought walked the earth when I was a kid.
Yes.
Right.
Doc and Rat, all those bands. I loved all those bands for the guitar playing. So the moment that Stu asked me to do this, and Stu had no idea who George Lynch was, I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this, you know? So we go down the list of songs we're going to do. We're going to do these two pieces that only Stu and I were going to do together because it's a bass and drums thing. Like I said, this is going to be on Washburn acoustic instruments. It wasn't going to be plugged in with distortion. So Stu and I were going to do these two pieces that we had already covered in his clinic before. Then we were going to do Going to California by Led Zeppelin. Then we were going to do Fire by Jimi Hendrix. And then Stu tells me, he goes, and then George says he wants to do this song called Mr. Scary. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you know?
Yep.
He's like, oh, do you know the song? I'm like, yeah. Like, you know, so I'm just like, you know, I'm picturing Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors 3, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. So, again, long story condensed, we get to the sound check that George is 45 minutes late for. Finally shows up with his tech with this amp that we don't know why he's got an amp, because once again we're not using electric guitars here.
Right.
Another 45 minutes spent trying to find his quote unquote tone that, as I'm watching all this, like all that hero worship went out from when I was a kid, turned into me going, this is like some clown showing up to audition for, you know, for the band who can't even figure out how to plug his freaking guitar in. And that's how I started feeling. I mean, I know it sounds terrible, but like after a while, I wouldn't expect this out of like, you know, a pro.
Right.
So we get to the sound check, we get to playing Mr. Scary, and George doesn't want to do it. And he's like, I can't find my tone with this guitar. And
oh boy.
All right. Yeah, oh boy.
Oh
exactly.
Boy.
So we end the sound check, we go take a dinner break, and Sue goes, so what are we gonna do? I go, I don't know. I say we just do it. If I just count it off, what's he gonna do? Not play it?
Right.
So it got to the end. It got to the end of, like, we played all the songs we were going to do. Now, see, I'm laughing because the way Stu did this, it was so underhanded. It's not... He's like, so let's introduce the band. And this is all of what you can see on YouTube. From what I'm going to say here now, you can, you know, it's like, oh, you know, and on drums, we got Jason Bittner, and over here we got the great George Lynch. I'm Stu Ham. And now we're going to do George's song, Mr. Scary. And that's exactly just like that. And you see George like look up like real quick like that. And I'm just like,
wasn't me.
I just start getting the hi-hat going just to set the time, because I'm like, hey man, the roller coaster has started. I guess let's go.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So that's not that is mostly the story. The reason why I'm going to finally circle back to why my reaction to when I hear George Lynch mention, like, I played with George Lynch, and that was my reaction to that, was because, like I had prefaced before, this guy was a guitar god to me. Like, this was an honor for me to play alongside this guy and play that song with him. So the next day, let me say it again, the next day, I'm walking out of the convention center. He's standing in front of the cigarette. He's standing in front of the Hilton smoking a cigarette. So I walk up to him and I'm like, tapping on his shoulder. I'm like, George, man, again, that was an honor last night. That was an awesome jam. And he looked at me, dude, and the lights were on, but there were not one person was home.
Wow.
And I went like this, and then I got closer. Jason Bittner, we played last night. Oh yeah, dude, yeah. And at that point, I was just like, whoa. What the proverbial hell? Like, did you forget what happened? Like maybe 12 hours ago?
Right.
Like, dude. So
wow.
There you go. there's my jamming with George Lynch story.
That's crazy,
dude. See, now this is priceless. This is
too.
no one
Which
else.
ties into Shadows Fall, because every time someone asks us where the band name Shadows Fall came from,
Yep.
we tell them it came from The Hunter by Dokken, which is a total lie. It's from a comic book, but that's where we're like, oh yeah, every time Don Dokken it's that line, and when the shadows fall. There you go. That's where we got it from.
Yep.
So I'm going to rewind for a second. You went to Berkeley.
I did.
That's awesome. See,
I did.
So not only accredited, but he's got the paperwork to prove it.
Right.
No, because I didn't graduate. I didn't graduate. I only went for 2 semesters, and then I came home, and then I went to community college and got my 2-year degree. I didn't graduate from Berkeley because I did what a lot of people do when they go there. I went there straight out of high school. That was my goal, was to go to Berkeley.
Right.
So I went there straight out of high school. In the first semester I was there, were some good moments, were some eye-opening moments, also were some demeaning moments as well. Like, going to Berkeley, being the big fish from Schenectady in a small pond. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the guy playing Slayer and Rush songs and the kid who's untouchable in the music scene. And then I get to Berkeley and I'm walking around the sheds going, everybody here kicks my ass. Like, why am I don't know if I belong here. Like, literally, like my first few days, every practice room I walked by, I was like, holy shit, we're on another level here, Batman.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, I wasn't going to be impressing these guys because I could play Fight Fire with Fire.
Right.
This guy's in there playing every Miles Davis song known to man and all these other incredible drummers that my mind became open to there. I didn't think I was in the right spot. And then I finally came along one of the sheds, and this was like the eye-open moment for me, where I came across this practice room and there was this kid in there, and he was struggling so bad, and he was like in Breezy Z Book 1, and then it was the opposite side going, how the hell did this kid even get in here? You have to audition to get in this school. This
right.
is this is elementary school shit.
Right.
So as soon as I went from the one guy who's playing jazz and all these odd time signatures that's blowing my brains out to this one guy who couldn't even keep a beat. And I'm like, all right, maybe we're, we have a chance here.
Right.
But it was a lot at that point too. It was 1988. It was a jazz school, and I was a long-haired metalhead, and I stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yep.
But there was a handful of us that were there at the time, and guys I'm still friends with to this day, like, Brian Tishy. He lived
oh no shit
5 doors down from me.
Right.
And everybody knows Brian from all the Bonzo Bashes and everything he's done, and all the millions of bands he's played in.
Yeah.
John DeServio from Black Label Society was on our floor as well.
That's cool.
There was a bunch of people there at that time. But it was Berkeley was great for me because it made me practice more. It made me structure my practice more. It made me start thinking about what I wanted to do with the drums. It made me concentrate on reading more. And it also got me the ability to start learning how to play other styles of music aside from just metal and rock.
Mm-hmm.
And also gave me foundations for things and techniques and ideas and lessons that I would use for years to come with my students in my own teaching practice.
Right.
Because it was definitely.
Go ahead.
What was that?
I was going to say, I was going to mention that you do a lot of mentoring and teaching yourself.
I haven't as of recently because I've been so busy with the bands and with recording projects that I haven't really done a lot of teaching this year, to be quite honest with you. But normally, yes, and I do enjoy that a lot. But going back to the Berkeley thing, so the first semester it was like, this is how I'm going to wrap that story up into shorter span.
Mm-hmm.
The first semester was it's drums and music 24/7, 365 days a year. They're awesome. And the second semester was, oh my God, it's drums and music for 365 days a year, 24/7. I can't take it.
Right.
Because by the second semester, I met guys and I did the exact same thing that Mike Portnoy did. There for a year, met some guys there,
right,
left, started a band, wanted to go get out there and do it. And that's what a lot of people that go to Berklee do. Not a lot of people stay and actually get the degree.
Right.
Some people do, but a lot of people went there to network, to get on the road.
Right.
Berklee's not going to teach you how to be on the road.
Right.
That's it. That's, that's what you have to get out and actually do yourself.
Yeah, that's how.
But it was one of those things where I just started getting fried and music was becoming not fun.
Right.
So I just had to get out at that point. And reassess things.
So at that point you started looking to, have you been, now while you were at Berklee, are you still going out playing, your side gig, or did you just strictly focus on college?
I strictly focused on college when I was there. I did the only thing, oddly enough, the only band I was really in, I was in a band. It was kind of it was a Berklee session band, basically. I knew this guy, Mike. I was in a class with this guy, Mike. This is a great story because the end result of it is actually a pretty amazing thing as far as like the metal world goes.
Right.
Okay.
So I was in a class with this guy, Mike, and he said, hey, I got a band, but we don't have a drummer, and we have to do a recording project. We want to know if you wouldn't mind playing drums on it. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, what's it like? It's like, oh, it's like metal, metal stuff, because that's what like I was into by the shirts that I was wearing and stuff.
Right.
So I go start playing with these guys, and the band's called Roadkill. The singer was this guy Al, who was more of like a skinhead, and he was a cook who worked in the kitchen there. But he was he was going there for vocals. But he was like more like he actually reminded me of like Lee Ving from Fear. He like even sort of looked like him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was he was like a punk singer. This guy Mark played bass. Like I said, this guy Mike, I was in a class with playing rhythm guitar, and the lead guitar player was this guy named Bob. So I played with these guys and we did like 3 songs in the studio. Like, so these are like this is my first time ever in a recording studio. So I did 3 songs with these guys, and that was like the extent of my playing at school. Then I had some other guys that I jammed with. So now I'm gonna tell you about the ironicness of the fact I didn't jam with many people at Berklee at all, but the people that I did jam with ended up going to be people who quote unquote made it as well.
Right.
So fast forward to 1993, Individual Thought Patterns, Death, right? That the year, I think. So I get Individual Thought Patterns, and I open up and we knew at that point with Death, every other record would be a different lead guitar player. If you follow Death at all, or if you knew the history.
Yeah, I know who they are. Yep.
Huh?
Yeah, a friend of mine was a huge Death fan.
Well, they were a major impact on the death metal scene and everything else. So anyways, I open up a CD and I see, so this guy Bob, I never knew how to pronounce his last name. I open up the Death Individual Thought Pattern CD and I see Bob with the same exact name. I go, holy shit, this guy's in Death now. And it turns out the proper pronunciation is Cobley. So I end up being in a band at Berklee with a guy who ends up being in an extremely influential metal band, maybe 5 or 6 years down the road, who then me and him reconnected maybe 5 years ago, just through Facebook and stuff, and then we ended up doing some pandemic video stuff together, which was cool. Then there was another couple of guys that I played with, and the guitar player ended up going on to be Sebastian Bach's guitar player 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So ironic.
So you played with some good people.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. But to basically answer the question, I basically just went there to concentrate on studies and not for, the jamming side of it. The whole, going after the brass ring and wanting to make it started once I left school.
Right.
And then came home here and was going to community college and then trying to put together bands to, get the deal that was going to be the, next big thing.
When,
like everybody thinks they're going to do it 18 to 19 years old.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's face it, 1988, 89, 90, figured that metal the way we knew it of the 80s was 86, 87 really started picking up steam, established itself pretty good, 88, 89, 90, it was at its freaking heyday, and then the heavier stuff is transitioning 89, 90 when bands like, MOD or those guys are, just some of the really heavy stuff's coming around. Venom's doing well, Motorhead's crushing it. And so, I mean, I think when you started doing just about any of the stuff that you're relatively still connected with, I mean, you've really been at the forefront of what you're playing. So I think, I mean, that's what when I was reading your resume, I was like, this guy's been there since the beginning of it.
Right.
And knowing, I mean, we grew up in the 80s as well. So, and I'm a little older than you. And so
I graduated in 88.
Yeah. So I'm 3 years older than you. Not that much.
Right.
But
yeah.
So it was like seeing stuff like Twisted Sister, Under the Blade, Motley Crue's coming out with their hairbandy leather records, cassettes. They're not even signed yet. So these are like bands that we're following, and then when stuff like Motorhead's coming around, Venom, Slayer, all the really heavy, Anthrax is out there doing their New York version of the metal that I like versus the L.A. polished glamour lipstick and fucking spandex bullshit. I was more of that skater metal guy, like Anthrax brought out type thing. So, Overkill to me. When you agreed to do this, I was looking at Jeff. I go, fucking Jason Bittner's going to be on this show, because I was a drummer for 30 years, and then I switched to I don't want to carry shit anymore.
I can see by your shirt.
Yeah. Well, they pay me because it's bigger. It's better than a billboard.
Right.
This is not the anniversary edition. I'm kind of pissed I didn't buy that one yet, but
it's coming.
But yeah, it is, because I have a problem.
I know you do.
He makes fun.
Word to the wise: don't get the black one that has like the purpley kind of logo, because I don't like that the texture of the shirt. It feels kind of weird. The yellow 400th anniversary shirt's really nice.
This one's thin as shit. I've had other Zildjian. This one's made out of like, I don't know. It was definitely, they were like
burlap.
No, not burlap. This is like, thank God it's extra.
It was probably made it. It was made at 4:50 on a Friday.
Yeah. The sleeve fell off twice. But it's funny. We were talking about with Rick Latham. We were talking about Zildjian, and
I love Rick.
I have in my other room. I have my original mid 70s, late 70s, hand tapped real Zildjians. That were from, was it Pakistan, I think, back then, or whatever, and or Istanbul.
I think that's what he said.
Istanbul.
Yeah, Istanbul. And so I've got all those still back there, and people still like, nice. Dude, you're not drumming anymore. Sell them. I'm like, I can't. My daughter will end up being like, I don't know what these things are worth. $25. I can see the death sale going on now, but
nope.
But I just can't bring myself to let them go.
You can avoid that already by making sure that you bring those to someone who can appraise them correctly, so they know what that stuff's worth when you go. Like, I've already made that joke joke, like, jokingly with Vic, who used to have Vic's drum shop. I'm like, if I die, dude, you know that you're going to be the caretaker of my gear for my wife. I said, because,
Right.
Right.
There's a lot of shit there, and there's a lot of shit that's worth money.
Right. Well, they just don't know, It's like
Right.
when I had
because like they just see a pile of drums, but you never know when one drum's worth $80, but the other one's worth $12,000.
exactly, dude. I've lost two of my complete sets due to fires. One when Albino's warehouse here in Syracuse burned down. I lost my kit. That I had a 9-ply double bass Ludwig touring set that I just loved. That just with the hard maple shot, just such a fucking great kit. And then the second time I lost 2 kits
In your own fire.
I didn't start it. I owned a bar and it miraculously had a problem.
Uh-huh.
A little problem. Anyways, lost everything there, and the only thing they did
Jason's
find
like, oh really?
the only thing they did find was my cymbal bag
Right.
that was against
And
an
the
outside
Molotov
wall.
cocktail bottle.
Hey,
Anyway,
we
It's
moving along.
Fires, drum sets, and fires are no joke, because I have a survivor from a fire as well. Fortunately, not at my house, thank God, knock wood. But I had my 2007 to 2009 era Tama, what was it? It was a Birch Babinga kit. I had it in storage at my tech's house because I had so much stuff in my garage and stuff. I was like, you got a lot of room in your house. Can we just store this over here? He's like, yeah, no problem. And I'm like, you can use it if you want to, because he's one of my best friends and he played drums. He's a drummer too.
Right.
So he had it set up in the basement next to his kit, and they had a house fire.
oh,
And both, and the fire never reached the basement, but the water
the water did.
Yeah.
from putting out the house reached the basement. So both his kit, which was a beautiful Tama Babinga kit, like top line star classic, his and my kit were both like, just sitting in 18 inches of water. So we put him out in, in my storage unit we did dehumidifiers and just left the shells out there, and we saved every single drum, thankfully.
Oh, no kidding.
That's awesome.
Both of us were still shocked that nothing happened. We're
That's
like,
cool.
holy
Yeah.
shit. Like, I don't count like some rust on a hardware, a big deal, but like to the shell.
Right.
Nothing at all to the shells.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
trust me, I was worried that because of the heat, the cymbals themselves were going to actually sound
Right.
different.
Yeah.
Because all around them, and I pulled them out of because we were going through the rubble, and I remember my daughter going, "What's this really heavy suitcase thing over here?" And I'm like, "Holy shit! Tell me that's what I think it is." And I pulled it out of the rubble, and
There it was.
yeah, insurance company already paid for them, but
There you go.
still,
I mean, no, they didn't.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. So anyways, getting
Even
back
worse.
to the era of the drums and everything that you got going on, that's freaking that's just awesome.
It is.
So you're still touring with both bands, right? With
Shadows Fall and
Shadows
Overkill.
Fall and Overkill.
Yeah, Shadows Fall got back together at the end of 2021 with the reunion show, which led into some festivals into 2022, which led into us starting to write some material, which leads into 2023 with us playing more stuff sporadically. Just like, there's no touring yet. It's just like festivals or big marquee shows that are gonna mean more to try to resurrect this band and what was going on. So we did Milwaukee Metal Fest this year. We did the New England Metal Fest this year, and we're leaving next Monday to do the Headbangers Boat.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Lamb of God, Testament, Hatebreed, us, Mastodon, God Forbid, Lacuna Coil, Fit for an Autopsy, Violence, and like 4 other bands that slipped the top of my head right now. But
But he's going to be playing.
that should be fun.
He's going to be able to play
That
with
should be
Testament.
fun.
Playing with Testament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of shows with them over the years with numerous bands. So that's going on with that, and we're trying to finish up our new record, which we're hoping we're going to get done by the end of the year.
That's awesome. Hey,
get it out
so many great bands from even 10 years ago are resurrecting everything. Even the Guess Who, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Like Mike Sterato is a new guitar player. He's out of Rochester originally. He's playing with the Guess Who. They just cut a new album. I mean, holy shit. I mean, all these bands are coming up. They're just coming back, and it says a lot. It says a lot for us, but it also says where are the young kids going to start doing something other than Cookie Monster rock?
Yeah.
I call it Cookie Monster.
Yeah, you
it's
do.
that guttural scream that, I don't know, maybe I'm just too old. You know?
Yeah, and I get that, but on the flip side of things, the only thing positive that I can say about that is at least it's still a real band.
Yes. There's no
real
sampling.
instruments, and
thank you.
Yes.
And it's
100% live. You guys aren't using backing tracks or whatever else. It's 100% live.
And now I'm hearing this shit nowadays that bands are using backing kick tracks, and I'm like,
yeah,
what's the point of being a drummer if you're not even going to play
exactly.
your show, man? Like, why did I practice for 35, 40 years? I just put everything on tape and sit back and relax.
Right. I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask
myself up there every night physically.
I'm gonna ask you this one. What about the new triple hit bass drum pedals?
This is how much I try to isolate myself from the internet and like social media and shit like this, because I'm still trying to figure out how to play two bass drum pedals correctly.
Right.
What is the triple? What is the
on your predominant foot, whether you're left-footed or right-footed.
Okay.
You hit it once, and it's going to give you, instead of an eighth note, it's going to play a 16th note.
Oh, you know what that's called?
Cheating. Exactly.
Yes. That's called cheating.
And I'm like,
100%.
What about the guys that are just busting their ass to get the fast enough foot to do the right thing? And now, there's the guy that plays that drummer that does everything on the social media. I will give him credit. He's fast and everything, but I don't know. It's cheating.
Yes.
You're playing with this extra stuff. Just play two.
I don't get any of that. I'm not gonna sit here and be the disgruntled, jaded old guy drummer.
Right.
To going, oh, these kids nowadays. That's not it at all. When I do see some of this shit on the internet or social media or something, I do actually start going down the rabbit hole and clicking and watching or maybe reading the comments, and I go, holy shit, people are actually like, they're wasting their time with this shit. This is why I stay away from it.
Yes.
Like, again, I don't want to like sound old, but it seems like nowadays nobody is impressed with just sheer either talent that someone may have or their expression of their talent might not be what you want to hear, might not be as good as the drummer you like, but there's too many people that are too easily at the ready to just go, this sucks, instead of maybe pointing out something good that's happening on that screen. It's this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. I saw it the other day when I happened to be going down the rabbit hole for 15 or 20 minutes on YouTube. Right. And it was about, and I don't even remember who it was about, but it was about one of my favorite drummers. And like someone had just wrote, this just simply sucks. And I was like on the keyboard, just ready to just go, like, wait a minute, let's not contribute to the problem here by just firing back to this person. But it's just that's the mentality. It's like it's not even appreciating what they're watching. Like, there's all these things that have happened that were just so amazing, and then they got to go, yeah, but there's that one part at point 1.38 when the stick moves 2 centimeters out of his hand and his pinky falls off the stick and his technique is shit there. Like, come on, like Do you really have that much time in the day?
They do.
They do.
Come on, dude.
Now, I will.
It totally disregards that the guy in the video has just spent the last 8 years of his life trying to perfect this song that he finally had the guts to put up on video,
right?
Just to have you shit all over.
But I totally agree with what he's saying, though. It's like, okay, if you can't play your instrument, then fucking retire.
Yeah.
But here, I'm going to say...
you can't play it yourself.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
But here's what I'm going to say.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to, I'm going to slam myself here.
Okay.
Because let's go back to the 80s. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great fucking music that was not metal.
Right.
But I was a metalhead.
There was a lot of shitty music, too.
Okay.
Yes,
There was. But...
metal and,
So, but what I'm going to say is... How do I put this? Back then, if a band like Duran Duran, NXS, REM, to me back then, I'm like, fuck that, that's shit.
Right.
Instead of looking at it for what it was worth, it wasn't what I liked, and it wasn't what I was worth, and it wasn't what I was playing, so I immediately dismissed it. Thank God.
I was a crossover kid. I love new wave and heavy metal, so I'll take Duran Duran and Iron Maiden together. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? Later, when I pulled my head out of my ass and I started going, REM, NXS, all those guys.
For me, it was even then, but still to this day, NXS, I like the first record. I like Shabu Shaba. That's it.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I can't stand REM. Never liked REM. Never. Michael Stipe always annoyed me.
Understood.
But I think the point...
I mean, they're a good band, good successful band. I wouldn't say I'm not saying that I think REM sucks. I just don't. I don't like that.
Right, and which is good because you're looking at it from a different point of view rather than this isn't the music I like, so they suck. Right. And if we had the internet at full capacity back then, I would probably be one of those idiots that just trolled the music,
Yeah, I would have never left the house.
Right.
I'm glad we didn't grow up in times like
me
that.
too.
I'm glad that to have to learn how to play Xanadu by Rush, I had to just keep putting the needle back and putting the needle back and put the needle back in, put it to 16 RPM. Jesus Christ, rewind the tape again. Hope that they might play the Tom Sawyer live video so I can just stop the VCR right when they put on the drums for 1 second. Like
exactly.
Now all I have to do, I literally can just go drums, pick any drummer that you want, blah blah blah. Jason Bittner, Shadows Fall song, and then here's 4 tutorials by someone else aside from me on how to play it. And it's just like anybody can go home right now after listening to this or watching this and type Jason Bittner, NAMM Performance. Sarah, no, never mind. Right, exactly.
But he's right though.
Mr. Scary.
Mr. Scary.
But it's my point is it's too much self gratification. I mean, I remember and like I said, I always go back to because I still. It's summertime. It's like 1986. I'm sweating my ass off in my attic where my drums were, trying to learn Exit Stage Left from note for note.
Right.
There was no Neil Peart video yet. There was no DVD. There was nothing. There was here's the record, kid.
Right.
Good luck.
Right. And you just keep with your big headphones that were even sweatier back then because they were as plastic and just your head just peeled them out of your head. And and the same way.
And the funny thing is he said something about you had remarked on, all these kids are giving a tutorial on something you did. And as for me, I saw something on Jakey Lee not long ago where he had like a small audience in front of him, and he ended up showing, I've seen so many videos on YouTube about how to play Bark at the Moon.
Right.
He goes, every one of them's wrong. He goes, here's actually how you do it.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody tried to figure it out
Correct.
their own way.
Even when Shadows Fall covered that song, and even when we covered it, John said, he goes, I don't even know if this is really the right way that J.K. Lee plays it, even when we covered it.
Right.
Because he had all those odd tunings, the way he played the guitar. And, just, I don't use a whammy bar. I just tune down the top string.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So
He's awesome.
Do you play any other instruments other than drums?
Yeah, I play guitar and bass and fiddle with keyboards, but not nearly to the proficiency level of drumming.
Right.
When I was a kid, 4 or 5 years old, I just wanted to be in Kiss. I wanted to be Gene Simmons.
Okay.
So I had toy guitar and toy drums when I was a kid, and like all that stuff growing up. But eventually, when I started taking drum lessons like in 3rd grade and started playing the actual practice pad and stuff like that, that's really when I started just concentrating on being a drummer.
Right.
And then around high school, I picked up the guitar again and went down that road just to, open up my musicianship and be able to convey song ideas and not just try to sing something to someone. Or, hold on, I'll play it for you, or I came up with this. We need a part. Here you go. I always had ambitions to be more than just quote unquote the drummer.
Right.
It's like, hey, I can play instruments too. I can contribute to the songwriting. I can write the songs here and there. I don't want to write. I don't want to be responsible for writing all the music or necessarily a full entire song. But if I have some cool parts, I just ask that they get listened to. That's it.
Right.
Okay.
Just put them up for consideration. That's it. Doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Knowing that you've been doing, when you stay with the same band that kind of sticks with the same genre for years, your creative process, so you get right in when they're coming up with the guitar riffs, with the bass riffs, that are composing the song. You're there from the beginning. You're not waiting for them to come up and say, "Here's what we have." Throw you a recording, and then now lay your drum track down. You're in the beginning.
Not with Shadows Fall. For the most part, we were always a band that jammed to write the songs. It was always us in a room, either starting with a riff, or one person had something, or one person had something and one person had the other thing, and we would just sit on it until it became a song. And that's still that was pretty much the way we wrote songs for pretty much the duration of our career, because that was the way we enjoyed doing it. And that way, when everybody's there to put it together and sit there in the jam room, and when at the end of the day, the publishing check comes and it's split evenly 20% to everybody, there's no problems. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we did that. We always just put it as like, look, I don't care if you wrote all of these parts. All 5 of us sat in the room for 6 hours.
Yes.
For 30 days in a row to make this song complete and to refine it and to refine it and refine it. We all deserve whatever might come from the end result.
Right.
It's not like, oh, you brought the 7 riffs in, so it's your song publishing wise. Nope. Not with us. That we did that for a reason, because we knew from so many other bands that's how animosity starts.
Yeah.
Bad blood.
And that's why bands fall apart, because once they start seeing publishing checks and shit like that, if you have a band that actually does well,
right.
If you have a band that does well, and then someone's getting $1 million publishing check, it's a different story. If there's 5 dudes in a band that were making $40,000 a year, if they're lucky, and all of a sudden someone said, "Hey guys, look, we all just made $200,000 because we got this $1 million publishing check," that whole band would be like, "Fuck yeah, this is awesome!"
Right.
Imagine that band if one dude just goes, "Hey man, I just got this $1 million check and you guys didn't get shit."
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would.
What's that going to do for morale?
Yeah, let's write another album.
It's going to have none.
Nah.
Exactly.
Let's go on tour. Nah. You go on tour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you're Slash.
Right. Yeah. Then you're Slash.
You're any one of these guys that I laugh because I've been in this business long enough to know, and I see bands, established bands or legacy bands, or you see these older bands, and they got this guy who's 30 years younger than everybody else in the band. I'm like, oh, there's the guy who's getting paid $400 a week. There he is.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't care because he's finally on tour.
Yeah.
Oh
No, names just completely
Yes.
popped in my head.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say
don't.
shit, but you
It's
do,
better when you don't.
but you do hope when you see someone that's been on tour with the band for 2, 3, 4 years, when they finally get that equal spotlight for doing. Look at Sal.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sal G from Stained. Sal starts off.
Yep.
He's a drum tech. The drummer, for whatever reason, whatever story, goes away in the middle of a tour.
Yeah.
And they say, "Who knows the part?" And Sal's like,
I do.
"I do." And they go, "Get up and let's go through a sound check." And he crushes it. And he's on tour with them for a couple years, and he's still just the fill-in drummer. And then finally, he gets the credit, the album, the props. Everybody starts knowing who he is. Yeah, and we know the story only because Sal's from right here in upstate New York. So, you finally, when you see that happen,
I know the real story because we used to share the practice room right underneath Stain. So I love that story. The drummer went away. Okay.
Sure he did.
It's a politically correct story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like my ex-wife. My ex-wife went away.
Doesn't need to go any further, but
right. Yeah. So, but you love to see good things happen for good people.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
And the beautiful thing is,
it's funny. I'm just chuckling at it. You're telling the story. And I know it. I know the story. Sal was invisible for years. He was.
Yeah.
And a great drummer.
And he's a better drummer than Wysocki was. So.
Yeah.
Well, you can say it.
Yeah.
Because you have you've got the pedicure to be able to prove it. So. Yeah.
Well, it's not that. It's also, whatever. You know how
politics are politics.
Yeah.
How the road is and everything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It always brings back to our favorite movie, Rockstar.
Oh, these are my mic cables.
It's my mic stand. The best thing that ever happened to this band is leaving right now. Yeah. So. Yeah. That
movie ironically is like Spinal Tap because it's funny, but it's so true on so
right.
Yes.
Right. Spinal Tap for sure.
Yeah, and supposedly loosely based on Judas Priest, Tim Ripper Owens.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard that story too.
Yeah,
but I don't know the truth of that.
I don't know if I believe it, but
no. Well,
actually, I just heard about it. I actually just finished up listening to Halford's book, and he was talking about that movie.
Oh, really?
It's funny just hearing him deliver it. It's like, oh, and it might have been loosely based on the next singer from Judas Priest. Funny hearing him tell the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was out with Prong in January, we listened to KK Downing's audiobook.
Okay.
So once I got home from that tour, I had gotten Halford. So I was like, all right, now I got to listen to Halford's on this next tour so I can hear the overlap of certain stories, but see, how this guy tells it.
Yep.
Right.
Pretty interesting.
Who do we've got somebody coming up that, Halligan. That's right.
Oh, Bob Halligan.
Yeah, Bob Halligan's going to come up. Yeah. Who, had some intimate relationships with the Judas Priest camp. Let's put it that way. When he wrote some stuff.
Okay.
Anyways, so I got to ask you.
Continue.
So we
okay.
So give us a this is part of the show where we ask everybody, give us probably the most effed up thing that's ever happened on the road. With any of the bands you've been in. You don't have to pick one in particular, but some funny little anecdote or story that you can share with us, because we tend to have our listeners that are really hanging on this portion of the show.
Yeah, for some reason.
They love it.
Well, how about good and bad? How about almost being killed in a Belgian rest area on tour? That was fun.
Oh, that
by a bunch of folks who didn't care for Westerners. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was on tour with Flotsam and Jetsam, and just happened to be that one of the we were out with Destruction and their bus broke down. So we ended up having to cram 4 people on one bus. The other bus broke down in the middle of the road, actually literally caught on fire. So you had 22 people or so on the side of the road that then got carted off in taxis to a rest area up the road. Well, there was no recon done on the rest area up the road. We were in Belgium, but we had no idea that we were in a highly Muslim area of Belgium.
Oh.
So they dumped off Destruction, Flotsam, Nervosa, and Enforcer, a band full of blonde Swedes, in a rest area. Okay?
Great.
Yeah.
One by one, these 20-something gentlemen start filing in, pulling up in cars, and seeing these Westerners.
Right.
It's folks that are looking, they're like they just walked off, the beaches of California. Like I'm in with a bunch of guys from Phoenix, like, we're from the States. And it was bad. It got heated. It got to a point where there was like maybe 22 or so of those gentlemen waiting outside in cars, just trying to entice the people to come outside, which we did not. We stood our ground and stayed in there. The
Right.
cops wouldn't come to the rest area because they knew where exactly it was. They're like, oh, no, we're not going there.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
It was like calling from Compton, basically. Yeah, we're kind of stuck here. And they're like,
Yeah, you are.
guess you shouldn't have got dropped off there, because that's pretty much what it kind of was.
Right.
Fortunately, what happened, this was like, this went on for a while. It was like probably the most nervous I've ever been for like my life on tour. It really was. Like,
Wow.
I've been in bus accident. Now remember, like, this also started with me waking up to my bus being on fire. So
Right.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
had numerous bus accidents and fires already. Now the worst moment ever on tour started with a fucking fire to start with. So eventually we called the fighting was escalating inside. It was screaming match between some of these people and the people who worked in the store, and it ended up being our tour manager intervened because he was from Belgium. He was Argentinian, but he was from Belgium, so he could speak Flemish or whatever they were speaking. So he got basically kind of mediated the situation down to basically just tell them that no, I think he said that we were Canadians. Like, no, they're Canadians. They're not from the States. Because all you could hear was, oh, and you'd hear Trump, shout it every once in a while or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, like, really? Like, I didn't get into music for this, and I don't want to die this way.
Right.
So eventually we got a hold of a cab company in Holland, because we were right. What it was, we were right on the border, the Dutch-Holland border, or the Netherlands-Belgium border. So we finally found these cab company from Holland to come get us and take us to start carting us off to this hotel that we finally found like a few miles down the road. But as we started carting people off, we're like, what's going to happen once like the numbers start going down?
Yeah. Who's the last to stay?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And actually what ended up happening was the biggest dudes were the last ones to leave, which was Schmier from Destruction, everybody from Destruction, because at that time the drummer was still Larry, who was another big 6-foot-tall German guy. Hator, who was our giant drum tech, like the big guys were the last ones to go.
Right.
But we kept going, well, what's going to stop them from following the fucking taxi cabs back to the hotel?
Right.
Or, or whatever. I mean, like, I'm not trying to like make up any kind of like terrible situation, but when you're put in a situation like that you've never been in before, I'm like, holy shit. Like,
right.
I'm texting my wife, like, I don't know what's going to go down here tonight.
Right.
So that's definitely by far the shittiest moment on tour. The only thing that would come close to that would be as if the Shadows Fall Damage Plan tour had continued one more night, and then I might not be sitting here right now.
Wow.
Oh,
because
now I know what he's talking about.
Now you're putting that whole story together, right?
Absolutely.
Follow me on that one. That's the only way that could be the worst thing that's ever happened to me on tour.
Yep.
And going to that night, if that had happened another night, there's a chance that the end result of that could have been a lot different, because by the end of that whole, I want to say the last 2 weeks of that Damage Plan Haunted tour, every night everybody was on stage watching the other bands play. Like, there was that much of a camaraderie on that stage. So at that point in time, every time Damage Plan was on stage, we were standing right there watching them. Sure. So that's what I'm getting at. Like,
absolutely.
Lucky that I'm still sitting here today, but unfortunately one of my friends isn't.
Exactly.
That kind of goes into one of the, you wanted the more dirt moments too, because that yin yangs back to one of the best moments when it was including Dime. When we were on tour with those guys in 2004, we were in Jacksonville, and we had just a horrendous show. It just sucked. The turnout sucked for some reason. Brian, our singer, had laryngitis, so we played a short set. Pat came up and sang a song with us, and then we just played some, like, 5 or 6 songs instrumentally. And it was just an overall shit night. So there was, like, this little dive bar next door, and after the show was over, Dime was like, "Hey, man, meet me over in the bar. Let's go play some pool." And I'm like, I suck at pool. He goes, "Yeah, so do I. So it'll be fun." Oh, all right, cool. So, and pretty much, like, if Dime or Vinny told you to do something, you pretty much kind of did it anyways. Because you were happy that you were hanging out with them.
Yep.
So we go over there, and, like, I'm not exaggerating. We were there for maybe 45 minutes total, maybe an hour. And our bus call was probably like 2:00. So we go over there, and now we already, the show's over, so we already got a buzz on. We were doing some Black Tooth back in the dressing room before we left. And we're at the pool table. So Dime goes, "Oh, let's get a couple 7 and 7s." I'm like, all right. So I go to the bar, I get a couple 7s and 7s. I come back, and in the meantime, he tells the waiter who came over, he has the waiter bring over, like, I don't even remember what the heck. It was an absurd amount of drinks. It was either like he brought over like 12 doubles, or it was like a tray of Black Tooth. I can't remember because, like, it's foggy. But anyways, he brought over way too much booze for 2 people. So gets a tray of drinks. Meanwhile, 2 of the other guys come over. We end up having this terrible 2-against-2 pool game that nobody can sink a ball because everybody's just shit-faced within like 15, 20 minutes, because, as soon as anybody walks in, Dime's like, drink this. Yeah, but I'll drink this. Okay. So I proceed to I'm like just shot. And like the next thing I know, like, he's patting me on the back. He's like, "All right, man, see you later. We got to go. Our bus calls right now." And it's like midnight. I'm like, "Wait a minute, where are you going?" So basically he came in within 45 minutes, sabotaged me and 2 other guys in my band, and got us as, like, if we were drinking all night, like that amount of drunk in that amount of minutes. Wow. And then just pat me on the back, spun me around, "See you later." And I'm like, I don't know what to do now, because I have no frame of reference. I had a pool game going. Now I'm like, wait a minute, now everybody's gone. Oh,
how was that bus ride?
Oh, the bus ride was good. Thankfully, Brian put me in my bunk. What I was told
I like that. What I was told.
This is a good reason why I don't drink anymore either. What I was told the next day was, I walked in the bus, and I do remember partially doing. I do remember grabbing the box, but I don't remember anything past that. I grabbed, because Brian must have got up to go to the bathroom or something, and witnessed me, like, stumbling back into the bus. I grabbed like the empty case of beer, like the box,
Right.
and I put it down. I put it down in the hallway of the front lounge, or on the floor of the front lounge. Got on my knees, and proceeded to. And Brian said, as soon as I saw you unzip your pants, I was like, "Whoa, buddy, you gotta wake up, buddy. What do you think you're doing?" And I'm like, "Go to the bathroom." I'm like, "Go to the bathroom." He's like, "No, you're not, man. You're not even in the bathroom." "Yes, I am." "No, you're not. Let's." So, thanks, Dime. That was your fault. But it could have been worse. I could have pissed in a beer box, but thankfully I was shut down and put to sleep.
2-time Grammy nominated drummer.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, at that point, it was. I think we were at no time now.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
We didn't get nominated until late 2004. Yeah, I was still just drunk, unnominated drummer.
Unnominated, taking a.
Unnominated mess.
A mess.
Now see, now that's what these.
Those days were fun when they happened, but I'm glad they're over. There's no way in hell that I could party ever like we used to back then.
God, nobody could.
I'd die the next day.
Yeah,
Simply death.
But
no kidding.
But like
I see people visibly do shots. I'm just like, oh
yeah. I can't be around it.
Not me.
I still to this day I can't be around. I can't even smell SoCo. I can't smell Southern Comfort. I'm like,
you know what, dude? I never got stick on that, but that's one I do not like that at all, and I don't care for the smell of it either.
Nope. As soon as I smell it, I'm like, this just reminds me. This is, if anything could be pre-vomit, that's what. So smell. No.
I smell that. It smells like 11th grade.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah, right.
It's
exactly what it is.
In 11th grade.
That's right.
Oh, I got this bottle of Southern Comfort. You want some? No.
No.
Back then we did.
No. Mine was.
I don't even know about then. I was like, I'd be more apt to hit off my other friend who stole his father's bottle of Gilby's gin, which is just as bad.
Yeah.
Great. I'm gonna drink some.
No, I
some
think
liquid pine tree. Fuck that.
Yeah. I think mine was Goldschlager. I can't do that no more.
Oh God.
God.
With the gold flakes and shit.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Oh
anymore.
yeah. We're dating ourselves to that one.
Yeah.
That was, remember Aftershock?
Yes.
Aftershock.
I like Aftershock.
They had a blue one too.
Avalanche.
Avalanche.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, Avalanche.
Yeah. So when you pissed green for 2 days.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Merry Christmas.
That's right. Ho ho, fucking flump.
I think the second date my wife and I ever had,
Fat guy down.
her and I polished off a bottle of Avalanche. That was not good.
Is that when you got engaged?
Oh my God.
Oh God.
No.
I think the only time I ever saw my father, emotional with his brother was after
When he was
drinking a
drunk.
bottle of Goldschlager. I love you, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, it really works. I was young. I'm like, holy shit, look at it. They're hugging.
Yes.
They never hug.
No.
I love you too, man.
Love you too, man.
It was like, 3 hours later, it was probably like, fuck you.
Right.
I never liked you. So,
You and I are done.
I was always mom's favorite.
oh, you were there.
He knows.
Right. Jeff, you got your traditional.
Yes. So, obviously, you've toured for many years, but who is the one person that you've met that you thought to yourself, holy shit, I'm actually meeting this?
He says Alice Cooper, I'm leaving.
Oh, hands down, Neil Peart.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, no kidding.
That's awesome.
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be. Yeah. That's.
At the end of the day, I was friends with my biggest fucking hero. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's something. That's something I take to the grave. He was a very quiet man that had a very small circle of friends, and I don't know how the hell I got in the inner circle, but I did.
Well,
So
good for you.
That's That's that. That also in my friendship to him, Nico McBrain. Same
Oh,
thing.
no shit. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Which no one ever pronounces right.
No.
No. That,
Anybody who says if they say Nico,
You don't
you're
know
pronouncing
him.
it wrong.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's Nico.
Yeah,
His name
it
is
is.
Michael, and I've heard him say it out of his own mouth a million times. Anytime I get a voicemail, hey mate, it's Nico. He doesn't go, hey mate, it's Nico.
Right. That's cool. See?
And from what
And
from
there's
what I
been
understand,
so many times where I've had friends of mine pronounced it wrong. Where I've been so tempted to be like, someone's gonna call him right now and just fucking, put him on speaker so they can say his name right for you.
and from like videos and stuff that I've seen of him, he is one hilarious dude.
Yeah, he is. He
I don't know.
absolutely is.
Jason's pretty funny.
Well, yeah. But he's talking about Nico
Nico.
McBrain.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he is one funny dude.
Nico, as far as drummers go, like the guys that I looked up to that I never thought in a million years that I would be friends with or having have their number in my phone book,
Right.
Yeah.
Steve Smith, Terry Bozzio, are you kidding me? Like,
Right.
Weckel, like all three of them are in my phone. Like if you told me this in 1987 when I was listening to Chick Corea Electric Band and Dave Weckel that, I could just call him every once in a while. Oh, by the way, his birthday's the day before you. So that always gives me a good reason every year. Hey,
Right.
Dave.
Yeah.
So
Jason, I'll tell you when
Yeah.
when we had Rick Latham on, I remember looking at Rick's books when I was younger, taking some of the rudiment books and going, never knowing that later in life I'm going to be sitting on this podcast interviewing
to
him and saying, no shit. I remember those two books that are still
case
being
in
used.
point, I remember buying Bobby Rodinelli's double bass drumming book when it came out, like in 96, I think Modern Drummer put it out, and now in the latest revision, I'm in the book. So
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
It's like it's
Very.
crazy.
See, this is why I when I'm booking, I book as many drummers as possible so
I know.
I can fulfill my, fuck the guitar players, they're a dime a dozen. But a good drummer, it's hard to find. So,
No,
we,
a good bass player is hard to find.
never mind. No.
Yeah, see, even he said, yeah, well.
Yeah, they're hard to find because.
You know why? Because everybody's a goddamn guitar player or a drummer.
Because a bass player is a guitar
Or wants
player.
to be one.
Or
That's right.
or wants to be one, correct.
That's right. Yeah, how come every time we need a bass player, we couldn't find one? Or we would get the Tin Man. Who didn't want to move. He put him in front of his bass amp and then he didn't move the whole show.
I
We
don't
had
know.
those.
It seems like years ago, lead guitar players were always the ones that were the elusive ones. I mean, back in the heydays of trying to, start the local bands and stuff. It was always hard finding a guitar player.
Everybody wanted to be Eddie Van Halen.
Right.
Yeah. And they start with that riff and you're like, get out.
Or finding two guys that could play with each other would be a problem
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
It's
know?
funny. We had Ben Morrow on the show, and Ben played for 20 some odd years with Lionel Richie, and he just did a stint with Cher for a number of years, and he's from Syracuse, and he played here, and Jeff got up and played some songs with him. I got up and sang, and it was like watching you two harmonize with each other was back like when we had the band going with just to find somebody that they could harmonize and just think, where's he going with it, and just almost play off each other. That's tough. Like you say, it's hard to find two guys that can really know what the other one's thinking before he does it. So, just like a bass player and a drummer. I mean, there's a marriage right there that, if that bass player's in the pocket and you guys are writing something,
Absolutely.
it's a true marriage.
It is.
And
Absolutely.
when you get a guitar player that's trying to go off himself and not listen to what's going on behind him, then they start going wonky. It's like, let these guys lay down the life's blood back here, and then you can go do whatever the fuck you want, because when you come back from it, we're still going to be in the pocket. So yeah,
Pretty much.
find that hard match to make. Let's put it that way. So anyways. Jason, I got to tell you, this has been a very enjoyable. I know we could probably talk for another,
2 hours.
2 hours, and we would
Easy.
like to have you back. Hopefully, this has been fun for you.
Sure. Absolutely.
We're going to give just Joe
Just
a shout out because Jason is friends with Just Joe.
But just one shout out, Joe.
Just
There you go.
one.
That's right. Just one.
Just
That's it.
one.
You got it.
He's like a Lay's potato chip.
Yep. You want
No one
just-
can be anything but just Joe. Just one.
Yep.
So there you go. Joe doesn't know, but we were bending ears about you, Joe, and
Yes.
I know you're listening.
Yep.
He should know.
No, he's not. No, he'll listen to this one.
He
'cause-
will.
Yeah,
Yeah, he will.
He will. Yeah.
Wheel.
He
Yeah.
will.
Yeah,
He will.
So,
He better.
if he doesn't, then he's just
We're
dead
gonna
to me.
call. We're gonna call Jason and have him harass
And
him.
he's just Joe.
Yeah,
It
then
is.
We're going to have just Jason on,
Yeah.
and that's it. So, and he does have a good band and ugly shirt. So
That's how we should have promoted it and used his font and everything.
just Jason.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jason's
Yes.
he's gonna play drums to this Metallica song, but he's gonna lower it one key.
One key.
He's gonna slow it down
Yep.
and reimagine what it would be like. Staccato. Yeah.
Master of Puppets will be the best ballad you ever heard.
Hey, you know what? I'm telling you, I loved. He just did some. He
He
did
did.
it. He
Yeah,
did
he
an
did.
actual at tone at speed song.
yep.
So I don't want to. He's an alumni, and we
Yeah.
freaking love the guy. So, but yeah. So there you go, Just Joe. Shout out, shameless shout out from Just Jason.
Yep.
So
I've been invaded by a four-legged creature. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I hope it's a cat or something.
What? It better be.
No, it's not a lion. It's just a cat.
Nice.
See, look at that. The
You're not
cool.
supposed to be eating that, though. So I have to rescue her.
You're not supposed to eat.
No, it's time for her medicine. So
Oh.
Ah,
I don't want her eating the food instead.
well, there you go.
All right.
Come on, you're on candid camera right now. You're like, I want to go.
What's the and what was our cat's name?
That was Freckles.
Okay, that's just Freckles.
Just Freckles?
Just
That's
Freckles.
Just Freckles. Freaking Freckles.
Yep.
There you
Freaking
go.
Freckles.
Just Freckles.
Yep.
Anyways,
Done.
Just Freckles.
Yep. Done.
So, like I said, Jason, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're
Truly
welcome.
appreciate it.
Anything that you can that you want to promote, or anything that you want to tell us about as it happens, shoot me an email. We will promote.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
And I mean, and fingers crossed on the third time's a charm.
Yeah.
Never know.
Never know.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Hopefully.
If they sent me a ballot, I'd check the boxes all the way. But
Yeah.
I don't think I
Well,
count.
thank you. I
So,
appreciate
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a
And good luck on the road with Overkill and your next
Thank
show
you.
with Shadows Fall.
yeah, definitely.
that. Awesome.
We will have
Thanks,
you on
guys.
again. Thank you so much. And
Sounds good. You got it.
and I'm going to be
a good
shooting
night.
you. I'm going to shoot you an email. I want to get you out one of our
T-shirts.
T-shirts and stuff. So,
Okay.
so
Awesome.
very good. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
All right,
Thanks,
brother.
Jason.
Thank you.
Night.
See ya.
Good night.
There you go,
Bye.
Jeff.
That was cool.
There you go.
That was very cool.
Of course, it was very cool. He's a very cool dude.
Yeah.
And who would think that so many things in common,
I know.
especially with upstate New York.
Yeah, no shit. That was
and,
great.
And Joe. So
Yeah.
yeah, do us a favor, everybody, and look some stuff up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think,
Absolutely.
especially
out,
that they're going to do, a revival.
Yeah.
I think it's important to make sure that Shadows Fall gets a fair shake and revival on this one too. So,
Yep.
So that's it.
Yeah. Go
We've-
check out Shadows Fall and Overkill and
And anything else?
anything else he's got going.
Just don't look up.
No.
Don't look up.
Don't look up.
Mr. Scary.
Mr. Scary.
That you could probably find on you. Do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah, well. All right, everybody. You've been
man.
listening to the Good
Zug?
Band
Yeah, the band.
and the Ugly.
Yep.
What the fuck?
I don't know what the fuck just happened.
You just mouth farted.
I did.
Auk Medical Supply, Sharky's Event Center,
Oh, man.
DJ Life's a Beach,
Good Nature Brewery.
Uncle Jimmy's local live music is still going on. We're going to
Yep.
have him back in a couple weeks.
The Print Shop Underground.
Snarky Productions.
And Toffee Break
Don't forget that. We got some other good stuff coming up down the road. I'm not going to tell you what, but we got some guest appearances from people that, well, you'll see.
You'll see.
You've been listening to Big Papa.
And Jeff.
Thank you so much, and peace. Well, we ran out of music.
Stopped abruptly.
We're going to stop the recording now.
Good.
Yep. We're doing it right now.
Are we?
Yep.
So
Recording stopped.